Hey everyone, Kelly Dean Allen here with you again. So then, Aerosmith and Magic Touch, track 2 from the band's big comeback album Permanent Vacation, or Aerosmith 2.0 if you will, released in 1987. Now, with the inclusion of a whole team of outside songwriters brought in during the writing process of Permanent Vacation, we saw a rather big swing away from the riff-driven bluesy rock of the 70s to a more refined and commercial pop rock iteration of the band going forward into the 90s and beyond. And on no other track could you hear this shift more prominently than on the track that we'll be looking at here today, Magic Touch. Steven Tyler had this to say about the song at one point. Now, despite the fact that we brought in numerous outside songwriters to help with the writing of Permanent Vacation, I'm damn proud of every single track on that album. Except Magic Touch. That song got a little stupid and commercial. I guess he didn't like it. Now, I personally think it's a damn fine Aerosmith 2.0 track, but yes, it is rather commercial. And I'm quite surprised that it wasn't a big hit, a big radio hit at the time. However, there's lots of great guitar work strewn throughout this track, despite its pop leanings, and I think it's well worth having a look at from that standpoint. So let's close in here a little bit, learn how to play Magic Touch by Aerosmith. Alright then, Magic Touch, Aerosmith from Permanent Vacation. We are in standard tuning for this tutorial, and this track starts like this. And then we drop into the verse riff, which is very slick, and that goes like this. But we'll get to that. The opening riff, all double stops, right? 5 of the G, 7 of the D. We're going to catch this on the upstroke, and we're going to keep pedaling back to a palm muted open A string between each of these little double stop changes. So 5 of the G, 7 of the D, we're going to go off to 4 of the G, 5 of the D, and then we're going to go on to 7s of the D and G off to an A power chord. Catching all of the double stops on the upstroke, right? And all of the open A's on the downstroke. So that's the first half of the riff. And then we're going to start it again, but we're going to finish in D, D5 chord, and just let it ring for a bar, and then repeat. Right? Over top of that, the second time we have this 20th fret of the B string, full step bend. He's using a little whammy bar on it. I don't have a whammy bar on this guitar, so I'll just use a little finger vibrato. Just a little accent guitar going on top of the opening riff. And repeat. And then the verse riff, which is very cool and a lot of fun to play. Just before the verse riff kicks in, we have this. Just a little double bend of this, a little half step bend of this second fret of the A. Kind of like that, right? Separate guitar. And then the verse riff. So we're starting on the 5th fret of the A string, this D note here with a little waggle. And then you're going to grab a double stop on the 4s of the 2 middle strings with your index, slide it back to 2 on the downstroke. Right? And then you're going to grab the 3rd fret of the A and then catch the open D, open G on the upstroke, and then drop onto the double stop on the 2s and catch that on the upstroke. Catch them all on the upstroke if you like, but I like to catch the first 2 on the downstroke. Right, you're going to repeat that twice. Right, and to finish the riff, we're doing pull-offs, double stop pull-offs. So we're going back to that D note again, but then we're dropping down to a double stop on the 5s, pulling it off to the double stop on the 4s. Then you're going to catch the open D string between each one of these pull-offs. So we're going to pull off 5 off to 4, 7 off to 5, 5 off to 4, and then 4 off to 2, with an open D in between each one. All of these on the downstroke. Kind of like that, right? And to finish the riff, you're going to grab the 3rd fret of the A and then the open G, just back and forth twice. Right? And that's the verse riff, and then you're just going to repeat. And so anyway, you're going to repeat that all throughout the first verse, and over top of that, before the vocals come in, we have these unison bends. Right there. So 5 of the high E, 8 of the B, right? Move it up 2 spots, then back it up again 2 spots, and then we're just going to send them right up the scale, right? Move it up 1 spot, move it up 2, move it up 2, finish on the 12, 15, right? Right? Into the first verse. Right, repeated like I think 4 times that riff. And then we drop into the pre-chorus, which is just going to be 2 bars of F off the E major for 2 bars. Right, just palm muted downstrokes. 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, chorus. Right, so the chorus, mostly power chords, except for the final chord of the chorus, which is an E7 chord. We're starting with an A power chord off to an F power chord, into a C, into G, and then back to F. A to F, C to G, and then a bar of F. And then C to G again, right? And then back to A to F. And then C to G, back to F for 2 bars. And then off to E7 for 2 bars. So E7 is just like an E major chord, but with the open D, right? So that's the chorus. A to F, C to G, all power chords, F, C to G, A to F, C to G, F chug, and then E7. Right back to the riff. Right? And over top of the riff, before the vocals come in again, unison bends. Right? Second verse, same as the first, except it's a little bit shorter, and then we drop into another pre-chorus, F for 2 bars, E major for 2 bars, and then right into another chorus. A to F, C to G to F, C to G, A to F, C to G, and then off to E7. Back to the opening riff. D there for 2 bars, and then we drop into the guitar solo, which we are not getting into in this tutorial, as it's not the most iconic of Joe Perry guitar solos. It's just a lot of blues licks in the A minor pentatonic for the most part. You know, just a lot of licks like that, right? And then he does some ascending double stop or unison bend, sorry. know, kind of stuff like that. Not going to get into the solo in this one. And then coming out of the solo, we're into the bridge, which is just a C to F to G. Twice, right? C, F, G. One guitar is playing at the neck position while the other is going F to G up here with bar chords. And adding little accents here on the suspended note here on the 13 of the B. Kind of like that. C, F, G. Right into another chorus. However, this chorus, they're just going to get that looping, right? They're not going to go off to that E7 until they loop this like 3 or 4 times. Now, normally we'd go off to E7 right here, but we're going to go back C into G. Right? Just keep looping that. Final time, we go off to E7. Right? Into these stop-start unison bends. Kind of like A power chords. Ba-na, 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 that kind of thing, right? With these unison bends. Right? And then we just drop back into the verse riff again. Right, while there's a very short fade out outro solo, which we're not getting into in this tutorial. And there you go, that is how you play Magic Touch by Aerosmith from Permanent Vacation. Certainly hope you enjoyed that, found it helpful. If you did, please hit that like button right down there, maybe drop me a subscribe if you haven't done that already, as that would be very kind. Hope you're well out there, and we will see you next time. Cheers.